Should I take her?
Hello, you okay, hold on. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our channel, everyone. This is Max.
This is Maya.
And this is Saga.
Max, Maya, and Saga living.
Yes, this is our little boo. This is the latest addition to our team.
Yes, we do apologize if we're a bit late with this video, but as you can imagine, life is not what it used to be.
No. And if we do have weird jump cuts, it's because she's screaming and crying.
She's in charge.
Yeah.
These times.
But right now she's knocked out.
Yeah. So
we got time.
Yeah. She's a ticking time bomb, as you said.
Yeah. If you haven't already, make sure you watch our previous video, which was our home delivery vlog.
Yeah.
Very intense. Thank you so much for all of those that have watched it and commented. We've read all of the comments. We are so moved and touched by it. Max did all that. I don't know. He did that while
you blacked out.
Being my doula, while being everything.
Doing everything. You pushed this one.
True, fair enough. This video is life after labor. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say thank you to our sponsor, Surfshark VPN.
Surfshark VPN is not only a sponsor of this video, they're also a personal doula for us because whenever we have an extra moment to squeeze in between sleeping, if we ever get in sleep, eating or feeding this one, we like to sit down and watch shows. And Surfshark VPN allow us to expand the range of the shows by changing our location to wherever we want to watch the show. So for instance, if there's a show in Canada that is not showing in Sweden, we can easily change our location from Sweden to Canada by clicking the button, and voila, we have access to that show.
And they also allow you to have access to multiple devices. So you can use your iPhone, your laptop, your desktop. You have options.
With one login. So for your chance to get 83% off, 3 months for free, that's a lot. Just use the promo code MAXMAYA in the info box below. Today. Sign up today. Saga, are you listening?
She's out.
She's out. She's mind blown by this deal. Go for it.
Okay, so life after the labor.
Do you remember anything?
Of the labor?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember a lot. You know, it's interesting because a lot of laboring women, they say, oh, I went to some other place. I didn't go nowhere. I was right here. I was so present.
She was so great. Oh my God. I'm still in awe. I'm like starstruck by my own wife throughout that whole experience. Wow.
Really?
Wow.
On my channel, I talk about what was going on in the labor. So if you want to know what was like going on in my mind, you can check that. But Max, what was going on in your mind?
First is the small contraction coming. It don't last that long, and I'm just trying to make sure that you have food that, like, it's literally like, it might sound crazy, but it's Maya is like the main focus in my head. Like, it's almost as if I'm leaving my own body to just make sure that you are fine. And it's like, because I know that however Maya is feeling, however Maya is, you know, going through this, that's going to be the result of our own child.
So you felt like a responsibility?
Yeah, I felt like a responsibility, and you know, throughout, it's like I never had any dark thoughts, or I didn't have time to think of anything negative. I think in the moment,
you never thought anything negative?
In the beginning, I didn't feel that because I don't have time to feel that. It's about, you know, filling up the pool, making sure that there's fruits, lighting candles, making sure that our doula and our midwife is on their way. Whenever you're going through something, you always think as an other alternative. In this case, a hospital would be the better alternative. So it's always easier to just look at something else as something better because you're struggling so much in the moment.
The grass is always greener.
The grass is always greener, yes. And I felt that in the moment, and I was hugging you, and I saw you in so much agony, and I didn't know where we were going, and I just felt like, you know, why? Like dark thoughts. After that, I saw a change in you, a shift when you asked the doula and the midwives to go out of the room.
Oh yeah, so we should share with you that for 5 hours I was having contractions, and I felt that I wasn't progressing at a level that I thought was where I wanted to be. So I had asked the birth team to leave. And when they did leave, I was just focused with Max. And like, I went into like a different zone, which was like, we need to make progress.
Yeah.
and we need to get this baby going.
So it was in that moment I knew that our baby's gonna
How did
come.
you feel when I asked the birth team to
I
leave?
felt great.
Yeah, you went
it
like,
was important. Yeah, I felt great. It was important for me to see that Maya was taking ownership and an initiative, and knowing that she'd taken initiative, she's trying something else, because we've been trying so much. Seeing you take initiative and wanting to change, trying something new was so reassuring for me as a partner, and I knew in that moment that you're gonna go ahead with it.
Yeah, because after 5 hours, I'm like, you know, like they say, doing the same thing over and over, we're expecting different results, is like insanity. So not to say I was insane, but I was just like, I need to try something else. So there's something else was ask them to leave. Then when you and I were alone, I could just like let go more.
Yeah.
So like we started like making out.
Yeah. Adding the oxytocin in the atmosphere.
And we watched a documentary together.
Yeah.
Orgasmic birth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like you asked me when we were watching, like, do you see ourselves as that couple? And that couple was like, they were like making out, and it was just like, it was from like the 80s or 90s, and we're like, I didn't think I would do that, and here I was.
You didn't do it in front of the birth team.
No.
But ironically, we filmed it and showed it.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's out there, but it was beautiful, and I, you know, when you're in that moment, it was almost like you're high. You're on a high. Like,
for me, it was like I am doing any and everything to get her out.
Yeah.
So making out, and then I started like having so much pain in my butt. So you helped.
Give you a massage.
You gave me a massage. You were shaking my booty.
Shaking that booty like I do best.
Making out. What else did you do? Oh, the head compress.
Yeah, head compressing during contractions, and then between contraction we were singing and dancing.
Oh yeah.
That was like.
So the playlist.
Yeah, we had a playlist.
We had Moana. We had MSC Mosaic.
Low beat, like South African music.
Oh, I love. Yeah, we had a bunch of South African tracks. And then
I saw a lot of people in the comments that saw that
yeah,
were pointing
maybe
that
I'll
out.
have a link to the labor playlist.
Yeah,
but anyways, the point is, we did everything.
Yeah.
And then 2 hours later, this one came into the world.
Yes. And in that moment, it's like I was so grateful that we were in our home. I felt so safe. I want to say that it was the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my whole life. The whole birthing part.
Yeah, and
where are we now?
Oh my god!
into the I don't know, into the hole, the black hole. I have to just start off by giving myself a huge like reality check, because when you were pregnant, I was struggling when you were pregnant too.
You were like, I just want the baby to be here.
No,
I'm like,
wait. So I was feeling. I struggled seeing you in again so much pain, and like you weren't able to like.
I was annoyed just not being able to move properly.
Yeah.
Like walking, I felt like like a penguin.
Yeah, penguin, and you weren't able to drive properly.
Yeah, no, because she was kicking me.
You couldn't get out of like sometimes you couldn't even get out of bed, like sleep. So okay, so there's so many things happening, and I didn't feel comfortable leaving the house with Maya on her own at home by herself. So I had this whole mindset of like, when Saga comes, things are gonna get easier. I'm gonna be able to work more. Maya's gonna be recovered. We're gonna be able to work more as a team. She's gonna be physically recovered, and not taking your mental, health into account at all. So naive. So you want the pacifier? Oh, you're fine?
Pause.
She's waking up.
Yeah, she's hungry. So like the labor was beautiful. The next day was beautiful. She slept on me. Day 2 evening was like, she just started crying for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And we went insane. It was just like we were doing everything we could to try to get her to stop crying.
Yeah.
And that's when I think we all cried. First Saga, then you, then me.
Like, I'm sure that parents and non-parents can relate to that. When you hear a baby scream that intensely in the middle of the night, you think that the worst thing is about to happen.
Yeah, well, you're just like, what do you want? What do you need? And you have no idea, and you have no idea how to calm her. You're trying everything.
Yeah.
And it just really gets to you.
And, it's been actually very challenging on an individual level, but as a couple, it's been very, very challenging for us too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so when you have no sleep and you're exhausted and you're stressed and you're hungry and you're just like having a screaming baby, it's only a matter of time before you start turning on each other.
Yeah, it's really, yeah, but it's true. Like we're laughing now because we've got to a point, I think, where we are able to have a more of a transparent communication to one another and understand more objectively what's going on. It's so ironic because when you have a baby, because me and Maya have worked a lot on our partnership and our teamwork, and I believe that we have a very strong foundation, and then the baby comes and now you need each other more than ever to work on your teamwork. And I just felt like we were falling apart. Like
and not all the time. It was like maybe five arguments.
If I ask you, like, let's say pre Saga, like, how would you deal when you're frustrated with your emotions on me, compared to now? That was so hard.
I would pause and try to have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And but now it's
that
like,
pause doesn't exist at all.
No. Like whatever patience I have is like for her, and then Max gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
And it's just
yeah, and I'm already an emotional person, and
he's also emotional.
Yeah, I'm working on not taking things personal, but sometimes it's hard because I'm tired too, and I find myself like I'm not entitled to feel the feelings that I'm feeling, so I'm bottling it up, and it just becomes like a whole mess of like weird emotions. Can I just add a shout out to all women out there? Like, what the hell? You go through so much things physically, and then you get pregnant and you go 9 months. Mentally it's challenging, physically it's challenging, and then you deliver, which is
and then you deliver, and then you breastfeed, and then you breast pump.
Yeah, and it's just like it never ends.
It doesn't end.
It doesn't end. And then I'm on the sideline here, although I have to say that it's not been easy for me either. At the same time, I have my body still. I have the same body I had before and after. I can just stand and support you and be your cheerleader and make sure that you have food and make sure that it's clean around here. But at the end of the day, like,
clean.
What you're going through, it's like, when are you going to get a break?
It's like, let's talk about some good moments.
Yeah. One beautiful thing about having a child is that you can go through hours of pain and hell and suffering. Whatever you do is not right. You think that you like lost all the tools in order to satisfy your baby. But then you have a moment of like a little smile or even like 2 seconds of eye contact, and that moment justifies everything. It's such a beautiful, like, I cannot explain it with words, but it's just a feeling.
It justifies everything.
It's like a very primal feeling that, okay, this is what it's about. Because I get to a point where I'm like, what is this life? Like, it's just like taking care, like, I'm losing my whole identity here.
Yeah.
And then you have that moment with connection with your child, and it's like, you can't really say, oh, that's what it is, but it's something that's reassuring internally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've learned, and I don't know if you can relate to that.
Yeah, like, so for me, I turned into, like, especially in the beginning, it's like, I'm a milk machine. I'm just the vendor. Like, she just wants milk nonstop, around the clock. To the point that, like, there's a whole bunch of ish that's linked to like breastfeeding, and if you guys have a good, sweet, smooth journey, good for you. Not in the case for me. So like I had bleedy nipples, and then I just had to keep feeding her. I'm not only a milk machine, I'm also like a broken milk machine, and I'm trying to like recover and feed her, and it's just like, it's almost like she doesn't, in the beginning she didn't see me. She just wants me to like feed her, and then she's always crying, and I was just like, oh my god, like, I can't get a break from you.
It was also, for me as a man, it's like it was hard for me to understand this whole, the purpose and like the depth of being able as a woman to feed your child on the breast. Because I was like, in the beginning, I was like, well, give her formula if it's painful. Like, you're not supposed to be painful. Just pump. Like, I couldn't understand the primal instinct, I guess, of like, it's important to feed your own child and what it means, like the whole picture. Also for immunity and like the nutrients and all that. I wish I had prepared more for that. And I think because of the home birth, I was so focused on
No, I was too.
how to
Because
we did a home birth, and that requires a lot of time and effort, I think, and research. So
the balance was like, it was imbalanced. Like, it was like all research for home delivery, and then for me it was not a whole lot for post.
Well, I guess you'll just have some foresight for our second child.
Oh, and that's the other thing. I'm so paranoid about like having another kid. I'm like,
Yes.
stay away from me. Like, I don't want to get pregnant again. Not anytime soon. This is crazy. This is insanity.
A lot of people have been asking me like, oh, are you planning to have another kid now? Because, you know, a lot of people are saying that, you know, they should be, you know, similar age. And I'm like, no.
A lot of people need to stop talking and asking questions.
It's 5 years between me and my sister, and we're very good friends. There's no thing as you have to be that close. I need a break. You need a break. You need a break. Double break.
I need a major break.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you. Thank you.
Oh, the challenge when you're like just the two of you.
Countryside.
I pray that there's at least two people. But if you don't, we still need so much help.
Yeah.
We've had all of Max's family basically just helping us when they can.
My sister was here a couple of days.
Your sister, your dad
came by.
We stayed with your mom for a bit. The countryside, on top of that, like, we have the most challenging situations of being so remote and far from help. We literally just dove into the deep end.
Yeah, we did. And I think even more so for me and Maya, because, you know, countryside living is just a different way of living. We're not saying that
we're not used to it.
We're not used to it. We're not saying it's easier than any other situation, but for me and Maya, it's more familiar to be in cities. We're more used to that. So naturally, we would feel comfortable being in a city as opposed to a countryside, because we're already, as individuals and a partnership, trying to learn how to live in the countryside.
We're still trying to figure it out.
I think my biggest challenge is my walks with the stroller. Like, I like taking Saga for a walk in the stroller so that Maya can get some rest. In a city, you would have the street light, you would have people walking around no matter what time it is at night. And in Sweden, we're going towards winter, it's gonna get darker. I went out the other day walking on, you know, a dirt road with a light, like a torch, and it's very miserable. I think that's when I feel the most isolated, because we already live in a very tiny place. Imagine if it was summer now.
That would be so good.
It would be so much more ideal. Like I don't want to kick at the countryside living, because it is great in so many ways. It's just very challenging in a rough, cold winter in Sweden.
For me, it's not having my family and friends. That's a big isolation. Like, community is everything. Like, especially familiar female mother help. Like, I wish I had someone to help me with this stuff. Like, I remember talking to Shannon, and she was like, her mom stayed with her for 2 weeks. She's like, Maya, if you can, have your mom come for 2 weeks. I'm like, she ain't coming. She's like, you know, these are different times. So she's stuck where she's stuck at the time. And I'm here where I'm at. And so it's just like, man, it's hard. But there are beautiful moments. Like, I remember when I could finally put her to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, she'd be sleeping on the bed, and I'd be staring at her. And I'm like, oh my God, like, and I'm supposed to be sleeping, and I'm like staring at Saga. And I'm like, this thing came from in me, is outside of me, and is now sleeping beside me. It's almost like having like a cute little puppy, but times a million.
Yeah.
She's now, like, her eyes are present. Like, before she was just sleeping, crying, eating, sleeping, crying, eating. Now she's like sleeping, awake. The awake part is the new part, where she's just like looking and observing and like low-key playing.
Yeah.
We have like a little jungle gym, and now you can put her on her back, and she's just like looking around. What are the moments that you're like, yes?
I know this is not what you expected and that you would hope for, but when we introduced the bottle, it gave me a moment to connect with her and being able to provide for her. She's the one who's like on duty most of the time during the night, because she's so much better at like micro sleeping. Like, she's so good at spreading out her sleep, whereas I need my consistent sleep for a couple of hours. So she's been so good during the night, and then I wake up super early in the morning and I have a moment, and you go back to bed. And that moment has been so freaking powerful for me to sit with her, seeing how she's starting to see the world more and more for every day. Like I see new nuances in her way of communicating with me or looking at other stuff too. And I get to feed her, she gets to fall asleep again. I get to just be with her, and I think that's been like fun. Also, like one thing that I'm so excited about is to see my family seeing Saga, which I feel bad for you because you've only been able to introduce them on like FaceTime and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel, I really understand, like that must feel strange to you, but like for me to introduce them to my mother, to my sister, my dad, and my grandma has been like, wow. I'm just like, I'm not looking at her, I'm like looking at them, how they perceive her and how it feels for them, and I can feel like a complete shift in them and how their life changes in a sense, and that's very beautiful.
Take your feet off the table and give the cheese a chance.
They don't take their shoes. They don't take their
shoes
off in Scotland.
Hello.
How does it feel to be a mom?
It's weird,
Shameless mama.
A shameless mama? I think now it's like natural, but in the beginning, like I'm not an infant. I'm not a newborn person. I prefer toddlers. But I love this one.
Yeah.
I love being a mom to her. It's weird, man. Like there's so many things that because I'm a very logical person, but there's a lot of things that motherhood overrides logic. Like I'm aware of like thinking it's like my body and like it's almost like this evolutionary thing is pushing me that I never anticipated. Like for example, like the whole breastfeeding thing. Like I never even thought it was like going to be a challenge or an issue. I was so naive. And when it became an issue, then I was just like devastated. But then I would say that that's like the whole motherhood thing that kicks in. Like I'm like, oh my God, like, but logically it's just like, as long as she's healthy, as long as she has food, that's all that matters. And like, note to all the moms out there, as long as your child is fed is all that really matters. But like biologically, I feel like a semi-failure for not being able to like breastfeed properly. Like I'm just like, the whole bloody nipples thing is going to be another thing, but it's hard, it's rough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But you're doing great. You both are, my ladies.
Well, what's it like for you to be a dad? Because I know for me, when I see you, I know it's been a thing, but I'm like, that's so funny. See Max like change a diaper in the beginning.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm the youngest in my family, and I'm always been the person who live a very different life from everyone else in my family. Everyone has had like, same jobs. They are good at like staying at the same place, and they've had like very stable relationships. Yet everyone has been predicting me to be a father first of all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they've been predicting.
Is it true? Are you?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I've always wanted to be a dad. I always known that I wanted to be a father.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't know when, and I guess it's never a good timing. I guess you always have things you have to fight through, and always have things you have to go through. And I panic sometimes because I'm like, oh, I haven't figured out this. I'm not where I wanted to be in my career. I want to develop that, but I have a lot of good friends who are giving me advice, and that this is not the end. This is just a part of my life. It's not the end of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's challenging. But I think looking back in a couple of months, it will all be more clear, and I think we will find a routine. It will just be different. It will just be different. Life is just different.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful, and what a beautiful to have a child with your best friend.
Yeah.
And your life partner.
She looks like...
Are you showing her? You're revealing her?
I think she looks like you, and then Your family thinks she looks like me. As you can see, I'm very tired. She's tired. You must be tired.
I'm tired. But I'm so proud that we got to go through this whole video.
Yeah.
Despite the circumstances,
yeah.
she's been so good. So we better wrap this up now before she wakes up. But thank you so much, guys, for following us through this moment. I can't believe the things that you've seen on such a... You know, you've been with us from when we started this channel, and we are now, and we are far from done here. We're going to continue documenting our life journey, although it will be very different from before.
It'll be more fun.
We're going to be more fun and more eventful.
A new character.
And we have a lot of things in the pipeline for you guys, so we're so excited that you're with us, and your support means a lot to us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with someone who you might think would like this. And
turn the notifications on.
Yes, and we'll see you
in the next video.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Besides.
I love you.
I love you.
You're the best mother in the whole world.
You're the best father and husband in the whole world. Oh, look at our baby.